Welcome to Morning Market Call. I am your host, Jordan Ellis, and this is our professor, one of our core professors, Dr. John Bingham. Welcome.
Thanks, it's good to be here.
It's good to have you here. So to begin, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about yourself. What made you really decide to turn to the dark side? And you can tell me that a little on later, but if you could tell me a little bit about your family first, and then maybe some of your hobbies and interests.
You don't want to hear about the dark side first?
No, not first.
Okay, we'll get to that. I'm a husband and father. My wife and I have been married for 13 years. We have 4 children, 9, 7, 5, and 2, and 1 on the way. So 1 coming this July. That's an announcement right there. And we love to hike, bike, we camp together, we travel together. We just returned from taking our kids to Germany, where I was involved in teaching there. So we do a lot of things together and really enjoy hanging out as a family.
Great. So you're really fulfilling BYU's core objectives then.
Absolutely.
With 4.5 children, right?
We take the proclamation to the family to heart.
Great.
We're living it to the fullest.
So how long have you been at BYU?
I've been here for 7 years. Well, going on 7 years. It'll be 7 years this August. It's been fantastic. We love it. We have never lived in Utah County. We are University of Utah people, actually. My wife and I met at the University of Utah. So coming down to BYU was a bit of a move for us, both psychologically and physically. But it's been great. We've really enjoyed being here so far.
So that brings up a really interesting question. Why BYU? You probably had so many other opportunities. What was so special about BYU that made you want to come here?
The creamery. You've heard of the creamery on 9th?
I have.
Have you tried squeaky cheese?
I haven't, but I've had the chocolate milk. It's amazing.
Yeah, that was a huge draw for us. That and the opportunity to hike the Y on the mountain. That was huge.
Great.
You said keep this light.
You're right, and maybe we should talk about light chocolate milk too. You've dealt with a lot of students before, and you've helped teach many students that have come through BYU.
Right.
What is HR? What are some things that maybe some students coming to BYU needs to understand about HR?
Yeah. To go back to your earlier question, one of the really powerful things about being at BYU is the chance to connect with really amazing students who have a breadth of experience, international experiences, amazing corporate experiences, and for me that's a wonderful opportunity. I find that students who come to BYU understand people well. They've been on missions, they've served with people in callings in the church, they understand how to interact with people, but they don't understand the science of people, the psychology and the sociology behind how people work in organizations and how you can leverage the capability of people to benefit an organization and drive its success. So that fundamentally is what my class is all about. It's about how do you figure out who we talk about in Jim Collins' book, getting the right people on the bus.
Right.
Well, how do you get the right people on the bus? How do you make those selection decisions? We talk about the importance of effective integration in mergers and acquisitions. Well, how do you do the human due diligence to understand how cultural integration of 2 different companies works successfully so that you can predict success in a merger or acquisition situation? So these are the kinds of things that we talk about in my class.
Right. And
having been a student, I'm surprised you didn't bring up some of those things yourself.
Actually, I did want to bring that up. I remember one time we had to build a device that would prevent our egg from breaking. And I remember thinking, why didn't we pick that engineer when we could have? Why didn't we pick someone smarter who knew more about eggs than actual business? And it was a valuable lesson that I took into account.
You know, it's an important point, I think, of why we teach this class in the first semester and why it occupies prime real estate, so to speak, in the core. Is because managing talent is one of the key and fundamental success factors of organizations today. And those who are out in the business world operating at a high level understand that, and we're trying to teach that to our MBAs who are entering the workforce as mid-level managers, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, so they can understand how to leverage those capabilities as well.
And I think that the learning that I obtained from your class was invaluable. And as I look back at the class, I wish there was maybe some things that I could have studied beforehand. And, thinking about those things, what specific items would you recommend incoming students study before they take your class or before they join the program here?
I'd like to say, brush up on your employment law and figure out what the Department of Labor does. I think those would be helpful things, but I realize that nobody's going to do that. So here is a practical suggestion for you folks at home. Start looking around at the day-to-day phenomena that involve people that confuse you, that are vexing to you, where you say, why do people do that? And particularly at work. And try to think about some really challenging situations that you've dealt with in a one-on-one situation with a supervisor, with a coworker, with a direct report, whoever it is, and figure out what maybe are the scientific principles that help us understand how those phenomena work in a practical setting, and how could you work them better to your advantage as a manager. Those are the kinds of questions that we discuss in my class.
So maybe instead of thinking, oh man, I really hate this job, you could think, oh, what a great learning experience I'm having in preparation for Dr. Bingham's HR class, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Dr. Bingham. As this is part of our core professor morning market call sessions, I would like to invite everyone else to participate and to view more additional episodes on getting to know our core professors on Morning Market Call. Thank you for being here. This is Jordan Ellis and Dr. Bingham.
Signing off.
Thank you.
MMC is brought to you by the Marriott School of Management in association with the Brigham Young University Department of Communications. MMC is made possible by a generous donation from Larry Tasjan and Gary Williams, and is produced by Rhett Weller, Todd Castagna, Mason Chen, Joel Tovey, and Sabrina Beck, with line producing by Kika Latu. For more information, find us on our Facebook and Twitter or at morningmarketcall.org.